What will you do when the power goes out? Let's talk about it. There's something that is all the rage: solar generators. But let's go back in time before there was this thing called a solar generator. So what you see behind me here is this thing that I used to use to jumpstart my car, use it as a pump to inflate my tires, and additionally, it has a built-in inverter. It has USB ports, bunch of things. Even has a little light on it, and I can jumpstart my car, as I said before. A couple of years ago, my wife calls me and she says, "Hey, the power just went out in our office. I need to get some work done. Do you have anything?" Duh. This is what I actually pulled out. This is probably about 4 years ago, 4 years ago. I literally ran it down to her office, and she was able to work off this for 2 hours. Now, this is just a little package that they used to put together. They used to throw a little inverter. But someone got the idea, said, "Hey, we can expand on this," and then came the solar generator. Now, the solar generator is making all the rage right now with preppers and people who like to go glamping, or people who live with a van life. Love them. This was probably their first foray into it, if they weren't the DIY type, because it was easy to get. And you get them in larger and bigger size. The only thing is, you can't charge them with solar. You have to charge them with AC. And if you didn't have AC and your battery ran out, you were done. Let's fast forward about 2 years ago. So it's 2024 now, so it's about 2022. We're coming out of the pandemic. I start seeing these things advertised. Solar generators. I'm a solar guy. I gotta know what it is. So I looked at the two manufacturers that were promoting the most. Now remember, most of the things for awareness is marketing, marketing, marketing. And EcoFlow had the best marketing out there. They were touting this thing as the next best thing next to sliced bread. And I fell for it. I got one. I bought the first generation. Now, since then, I've given it to my daughter because she has a plant business and she likes to keep her plants alive by making sure they have light and heat. And she has some power outages. So I gave her one. Here's the cool thing about this. And this is the simplest version of it. It can be used as a literal solar generator. You can plug solar into it, and then it charges it up, and you can use it for AC. You can use it for charging your phones. It's got USB-C. It's got USB, the old school USB. I don't even know what it's called anymore. It connects over Wi-Fi. You have a Bluetooth connection to it, and you have 120 volts that you can use on your output. The good thing about this is I use it as a UPS. Right now, this is running all the equipment that I'm running to record this video. I have 3 monitors running. I have a PC running and a couple of other things that are connected up. I have a light that's here. I don't have the fan that's running that you may hear in the background, but it's successfully running it. Here's the other thing. When you look at these, they tell you exactly how much time you have to run on that system with whatever you have connected. This is why it's important to understand when you are getting a solar generator or something like this, because they're flooding the market now, you have to know how much power each one of those appliances uses. Here it will tell you exactly how much time you have left, because that's what's dependent. It's power over time, or kilowatt hours is what is displaying here. So my monitor runs at about 85 watts, and this one runs at about 80 something watts, and my PC runs at about 100 watts. But when you add those all together, they give you the power that's going to be drawn over time, and it's going to tell you with these specific rated solar generators how much time you have left. You can purchase them based on kilowatt hours. We've talked about this before, about kilowatt hours. Kilowatt hours is the power that's used over time. So if you look at your television, for instance, it's usually about 250 watts. So 250 watts, and this is like a 800 kilowatt hour or a 1200 kilowatt hour battery. But that's not the whole thing, because the unit itself requires power to run. So you get a little siphon off to keep the inverter and the batteries and the display running while you're enjoying your life. You have to take that in consideration. So when it says, hey, you have 5 hours, think of it like your gas tank. I have 5 gallons and I go 50 miles, but I'm only going to go 40 because I want a safe zone. They usually have this system where it will shut down at a particular percentage. Mine is set at 10. So I don't want to go any lower than that because that can damage batteries. But I wanted to just introduce the solar generator. There are different makes and models. Bluetti makes one. Actually, I have the affiliate links that are for Bluetti, for EcoFlow. There's Jackery. The new one that's coming out that I just purchased is the Anchor. The Anchor is a bigger one, and I'll be doing a little review on that once we get going. Here's a few things about this EcoFlow that I bought. This is the EcoFlow Delta 2. Now, I think at the recording of this video, they are in transition because they have the newer models coming out. This is why it's so cool, because you can get these for much less than they originally were. That's a very good thing for the consumer. The newer ones are coming out, but they're going to be the higher price, but they do basically the same thing. They just updated stuff. It's just like newer models of cars. If you're happy with the performance that this can give you, then, or this current series of model that is being phased out, then you'll be great with it. What you have to understand is when you're purchasing these is, what do you need? How many kilowatt hours do you need it for? So if you're in an emergency situation and you want to use this for your home because your power goes out frequently and may be out for an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours, you have to look at the load you want to run. For instance, I want to run my television, I want to run my internet, I want to run my Apple TV, and I want to run a few lights. Now, lights are not what they used to be because a lot of them are digital in the fact that they are LED bulbs. They don't use as much current as an incandescent. So you'll have to look at your lamps to calculate how much all that power with all those devices add up. Then you can tell how long you have to run off them. That also influences your buying decision when you're selecting one of these. If you want to run your refrigerator, you may have to upsize and go to the next model or two higher output than this would be. This is very crucial. This will run my refrigerator, just won't run it for as long as I may need. When I get a larger style or bigger size unit that can handle more capacity, it may go the long run like we need. Here are some of the other factors that come into play. You may need to just get one of these because that's what you can afford. Say down the line, I could maybe upgrade it. Well, they came out with an expansion pack that plugs into the side, but unfortunately, those are being sold out. I don't know if they're going to re-release them, but it basically doubled your capacity of what you would get here. Now, right now, I'm charging an old phone, as you can see, off this unit, because I use these phones for cameras. But you can look on the back, you can see that we have an input for AC for charging off of your AC coming into your house. This is how I typically use it. I use it as an APS system, as a backup system. So if the grid goes out, nothing goes down, which is particularly my computer because I work from home. I also run a solar panel directly to it from outside my office window to keep it charged on nice sunny days so I don't have to pull so much off the grid. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plugs, and there's 2 plugs with a grounded terminal on them. The rest are just dual. So if you have a 3-prong plug, you only have 2 inputs or outputs that you can use for your appliances. I have this run into an actual terminal strip, so I'm not really worried about it anyway. Additionally, you can turn your AC input and output off, and there's an app that you can do the same thing remotely. As a matter of fact, when I'm away from home, I can pull up my phone app, and what it will show me is how my unit is functioning. It'll give me the ability to turn on or off the unit's output. So the AC output, I can turn this off when I'm away from the unit. I can turn on or off the inputs and outputs for the USB sticks I can turn on or off the USB output. And additionally, I can adjust settings. I can adjust settings for how much current I wanted to charge at, what power levels I wanted to charge at. I can tell it when I want it to shut down. There's a great deal of information that's available for you on the app that you can use. Here's my big point with these. I love them. I love them. This is my new hobby, like accumulating these. My wife is getting a little perturbed with me, but this is my thing, solar. The only thing I don't like about many of these is they come with these thin foldable solar panels that people like to use because they can travel with them. Well, I have rigid solar panels because that's what I have. The only thing about it, the rigid solar panels, the ones that you install on your home, typically are higher output, and you can't use more than one with this particular unit. Let's take that back a step though. Unless you're using the type that are designed for RVs. RVs typically come in about 100 watt rigid module that you can use, and you can make higher and longer strings to accommodate for the power levels. But I don't have those, and I don't like them because the cost per watt is higher than just buying a large module. I don't travel much, and if I do, I'll use my car to charge up the unit here. That's the big drawback that I see with these, is I can't configure my solar how I want to, but I'm a super user. I don't just read the manual and say, okay, I can only put in 60 watt or 500 watts with this particular parameters. I want to open windows so I can either have higher voltage and lower current, or higher current and lower voltage. But this kind of puts a strain on what you can do with this particular model. I think as we are going forward, they are opening up those windows a little more and being a little bit more expansive. But currently, some of the ones that I'm looking at, charging from solar is not where I would like it to be. The one real advantage of these is if you're in inclement geographical locations where you get weather that can be harmful. Tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, things of this nature. If you're in one of those areas, I think it's almost a necessity to have one of these, to invest in one of these, because the one thing that you really need is some kind of power, especially for your cell phone. Yeah, you can get some things like these and charge up your phone, but this, you can use internet, you can use to turn on some lights. You may even be able to use it to heat something or to cook something. They can last a long time. Solar generators are built for that outdoorsy kind of person or that tailgating person, but they're great for emergency situations. I had a teenager emergency situation recently. I was out visiting friends. My daughter calls and says, hey, the power is out. I said, go in the basement, get the EcoFlow, plug it up, and you can watch she plugged her computer in, which has 2 monitors. She plugged her TV in, and she plugged the internet in and the Apple TV, and she was good for the next 2 hours. The power was restored about an hour and a half later, but she had ample energy to use for her appliances while we were out and there was a power outage. Remember, follow me on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok at www.solarenergyforconsumers.com. You can even follow me on LinkedIn, and I am there for you. This is Uncle M for you, just dropping a little knowledge.